my name is Wolf, and today we are back with Our Life Beginning and Always with Derek's epilogue. The four of you filmed into the large bookstore and began to drift around. It was one of the most spacious shops in the mall. Clary went down the very first aisle of books, and you walked with him. He was focused enough that he had to be searching for something. There was no way to tell what was on his mind. So, have you been seeing anyone since down in college? Clary's relaxed disposition dissolved into a flash of color on his face. He stared through the books in front of him, unable to think clearly enough for the words printed on their spines to seep into his brain. Maybe. Clary's frazzled response made it impossible to not tease him just a little bit. Are you being coy, or are you unaware of your day? Are you being coy? Are you unaware of your date, someone or not? We don't have a label, but, well. Words failed him there, and the response faded out. Oh. He chuckled softly. That was unexpected. He knew Clary was actually unsure of his current relationship standing, but it seemed he was having some interesting romantic adventures in college. Good luck, Clary. He nodded stiffly, and put his brain power into focusing on the books once more. All thoughts of his special someone were packed away for now. The books didn't hold Nico or Derek's attention as long as Clary's. While he remained in one section and considered each pile on a shelf, his brother skipped along from row to row, giving only cursory glances to the specifics. With a bit of distance between himself and his family, Clary took the opportunity to have a more private conversation with you personally. His voice quiet from being bored by books made you feel as if you were in a library rather than a mall. I'm glad you chose to stay, Derek. That floored you. It wasn't that you found it unbelievable, but you hoped only to support in your and Derek's decision, not active encouragement for it, and the fact that he didn't only need to think of it, but was willing to admit it directly to you. You're going to need him, Bella. He peeked at the other corner of his eye. He knew exactly what kind of emotional bomb he set off. I think a lot of kids imagine their favorite babysitter never going away, even when they grow up. But for me, it's not merely a concept. It's real. Oh, with her favorite babysitter! That is adorable! Clary, secretly you are always my favorite kid to babysit. He simply returned shopping as happy as could be. You felt much lighter yourself. Clary ended up finding a newly released thriller that sounded interesting. He bought your step, then went to find his siblings. Nicholas and Derek had holed up in a graphic novel in Mongrel. They looked up at you and Clary approached. They grinned after seeing the bag under Clary's arm. I'm finished. Thanks for coming with me. What now? Derek confidently broke stride into the local games shop, with his younger brothers flanking at his sides. The set of three glanced around eagerly, then split off in different directions around the single room. He followed Derek towards the front right wall, while Clary and Nicholas went to the back corners. He bounced up and down on the pads of his feet like a kid in the candy store. We should totally get something. No, what consoles do you have? None. Not right now, at least. His conspiratorial gleam shone through his shifting green eyes while watching his back. Derek inclined his face closer to you, putting a hand to the side of his face, and shared his real plan with you. I'm gonna convince Nico to let us borrow his Switch. I know he got one last year just for himself, but I don't know what is on. But what I don't know is all the games he owns.
Awesome.
That's no longer a problem now. We can pick out whatever we want here. Something we can play together. Oh, we'll need an extra controller too. He chatted along with poorly restrained excitement, smiling sweetly at you as he did. Derek could have gone a digital download of a game instead, but there was no need to spoil the fun of taking out in a real store. Derek, let's race! You did your best to mimic the bold inflection of Derek's father. You got a good laugh. Perfect. Let's race. The two of you worked as the team to scour through the library of Switch games, the right genre with multiplayer capability. A few contenders appeared, and you had a mini group huddle came to a final decision. Derek held the case high like a prize it was and marched towards the register. He plucked a refurbished controller from off the wall and followed right after him. Derek clapped the case against the counter with as much gumption as someone playing a winning hand in cards. He chuckled at his own dramatics when he awkwardly sighed that the controller he'd forgotten alongside the game. Thanks, Callie. It was a team effort. Nicholas couldn't go too long without checking on his big brother's activity. He spotted the two of you at the register. He knew it was a game for the Switch. He nodded happily. The teen, blissfully unaware of Derek's true intentions, was buying for a console. The team was blissfully unaware of Derek's true intentions, with buying for that console. Derek played it cool and paid for the game and the controller. He didn't even look at his little brother until the deal was done. He'd secured the bag. Then Derek flipped around confidently.
Nice work.
Mission accomplished. Let's hit the next stop. You checked over the offerings available. Most of it was stuff you could get anywhere else, but there were some decent sales going. You were able to pick out one thing you wanted to buy. The Suarez brothers gave approving thumbs up at your selection. They stuck beside you as you checked out and finished up your turn.
Okay.
Okay. We've had some good stops, but it's getting late. We've got to go home now. Nicholas genially and accepted the end of the trip. Fine. Thanks for bringing us to this old place. A warmth came to his voice as he concluded his statement. It's cool that we got to hang out with. It's cool that we got to hang out together. The sweetness brought a huge grin to Derek's face. He placed a hand on Nicholas's head as he'd done for many years. I'm glad we did this too. Nicholas beamed at those words. The only thing better than having fun with his family was knowing that his family was having fun with him as well. In high spirits, he slipped out from under Derek's hold and threw an arm over Jorge's shoulder. The middle brother linked his own hand around Nico. The affection between all three had only grown stronger over the years had gone by. Everyone ambled towards the exit, being fulfilled. As he approached the door, Jorge began to speak. Did anyone else notice Derek and Kelly won the bet? About half the stores he mentioned were real and there. Yeah, that's right. Nicholas stuck out a peace sign and cheered vigorously. Despite not having won himself, something even better had happened. Obviously, if Derek wasn't right about all the stores he had talked about, then he would be right about how many stores he'd been right about. Derek shook his head with laughter at the exaggerated description from his biggest fan.
Thanks.
Thanks for believing in me. Always, bro. Derek's right all the time. That's why I copied his answer. Nice school? Come on, I'm not that good. Sounding humble was a struggle with how giddy all the praise made him. All his threads had been tied up, and you left them all behind. You got back into the shotgun seat and strapped in for the drive back to the Suarez home. When everyone was set up, you were on your way. The peaceful ride mostly quiet. After the long excursion out, rest was in order. but it only lasted for the first leg of the trip. Eventually, the soothing rumble of the car was harmonized with the gentle sound of Nicholas humming joyfully to himself, and only a second later, it was followed by a heart-wrenching gasp. The oldest brother instantly stiffened in his seat.
What's up?
What's up, Nicholas?
No!
Hey, Claire, it's disgusting. Dear Claire. He ran that piece of information through his mind, the facts of the situation clicked into place. It melted. Nicholas whined the tragedy of it all. Derek was right again, and he let out a nervous chuckle.
Never would have guessed that.
What did you think would happen? It's a cream-filled dessert that's been sitting hours in a locked car during summer. I didn't think anything, it just happened.
That's a bummer.
I figured you were going to eat it on the way to the mall. I forgot about it. There were plenty of questions and comments coming from both his brothers, but there was little Nicholas could say in defense. He twisted in your seat to check on the youngest. That was pitiful. He was slouched in his seat, gazing down into his box full of regrets. The suffering couldn't be ignored. Harry was compelled to offer a solution to protect Nico from the consequences of his actions. You can have mine. It's still fine. It's a little soft, but warm muffins are good. Nicholas tucked his knees up, gripping the box more tightly, and used that sadly could undo what had been done. I don't want that. I ruined mine. It's inedible. The solemnness brewing in the back seat was cracked by a bold declaration from the right friends. I doubt that. Pass it over. That snapped Nicholas to attention. He was bothered by his brother. It wasn't hard to imagine why. Derek didn't enjoy treats on a normal day, and that one in particular was a sorry state. But it could have been even easier to guess the reason of all didn't matter. Derek could stomach anything for his baby brother. He continued to coax Nicholas.
I see how it is.
I was always going to try some of your dessert. That's the reason I didn't get my own. If you're not having any, that makes it even better for my plan. Nicholas wasn't a 6-year-old anymore. He knew the place and things stand when he saw one. He Derek in apparent resistance, trying to brush off the whole attempt. Yet Derek had grown in that time as well, and lost his night tending to his baby brothers, even if it took more effort. He pretended to be oblivious to their rejection. Callie, could you get me the box? There was a groan and sliding shuffling sound. Nicholas had shoved the box through the opening between the driver's seat and the shotgun. Just like that, guessing game, he wasn't going to win this. Okay. You took the Zeke box from Nicholas and brought it up to the front. The lid was already open, and you got a peek of the Claire puddle. It was about half as tall as it had originally been. The structure of the treat had collapsed in on itself. The paper doily underneath was entirely coated in liquefied chocolate, frosting and pastry cream. You held the eclair out to Derek. Your fingers sunk into the sides of the overheated pastry with no resistance. They were immediately covered in sticky ooze bleeding out from inside. There was no way to do what you wanted to do without getting messy, but it was the path you had chosen. You made your best attempt to having avoid the cast off of the same fate as your hand, as you inched the eclair towards Derek's head. Whoa! The unexpected convection float in Derek's peripheral caught him entirely off guard. He gripped the steering wheel harder, while enthralled whispers could be heard from the two audience members. He was sure he might have had something to say to your little stunt, but he kept himself composed and casual. He was driving, and his little brothers were watching. Thanks, Callie. That makes it easier. His eyes stayed on the road, and he turned his head ever so slightly to reach the treat. He didn't waste any time taking as large a bite as he could manage. He barely seemed to chew it before he swallowed. It isn't bad, not too sweet. I'm honestly surprised Xavier is a damn good baker. You asked to try it. Derek seemed to make it tempting.
What?
You too? Nico scrunched his face, instinctively bristling. He nodded, honestly, with no hidden motives. His eyes drifted, heading towards Zaral, but he stopped partway, instead posed and smiled ruefully. Yeah, you can. Thanks. At that point, the eclair was ready to fall upon your hand. You carefully brought it up to your lips. You managed to get a satisfying, squishy chomp. The texture was miles away from being what an eclair should be, but it still had a very good flavor. Derek wasn't kidding when he praised Xavier's skills. Feeling a little fuller and more satisfied, you set the remainder of the eclair down and returned the dessert to its original owner. He scooped up the remains. After all that, he couldn't help himself and scooped some of the mushy mess out and gave it an exploratory taste. Nico grimaced as soon as it hit his tongue, let out a heavy sigh when he swallowed it down. It was pretty gross. As true as it was. There was a breathy chuckle threaded into his words. Not so long ago, he had been droopy as the eclair itself. Now he was starting to bark up. There was one person left who didn't take part in the event. He stayed quiet no longer. Could I try it too? Totally. It's all yours. The box was unceremoniously dumped into Huari's legs. He awkwardly grabbed it to keep it falling onto the floor. Huari gave a snort. Thanks. Fuck's sakes. Don't mention it. There was a decent amount left. The quite length, the type of confection. For Nicholas, it would have been at least 2 bites. Huari, however, was able to stuff the remainder of the confection into his face. Just like that, it was gone. Nicholas barked louder and clearer than before. Well, I did say it was yours. Thanks to the team effort, none of the eclair went to waste. No soggy clouds remained over anyone's heads. You're going to eat your treat too. Unsurprisingly, your chocolate cake was as annihilated by the heat as Nico's eclair. It was still worth it. The trip home was with good moods all around. And, as soon as you reached your destination, Nicholas and Huari jumped out of the car right away. Derek took a second to gather the gift he had gone for his father, and the card for Mr. Holden. He made sure you got your own stuff, too, before falling after the boys. Nicholas led you right in with his house key. As he swung the door open, he announced the group's arrival with a grand cheer. We're back! Welcome home! His mother and father returned the call with a familiar greeting of their own. They had been taking it easy on the couch with the TV, but it was promptly shut off with a click of the remotes. The children were entertainment enough. You, Derek, and Huari stood around the living room. As far as child number 3 skipped ahead, going all the way around to the back of the couch. Nicholas draped himself over his dad's shoulder and snuggled up to him from behind. Happy Father's Day! Mr. Suarez reached up to clasp Nico's arms warmly.
Wonderful.
Thank you, my wonderful son. The well wishes were echoed by the older 2 brothers in unison. Happy Father's Day, Dad! Thank you as well. Happy Father's Day, Mr. Suarez! It felt totally natural to join in on the merrymaking yourself. The content smile on Mr. Suarez's face confirmed that. Thank you very much. The man of the hour struggled to get off the cushion with a heavy cape still hanging over him, but lifting the Nicholas along with him. Mr. Suarez managed to get onto his feet. In order to keep clinging to his parent, Nicholas had to stretch his chest over the seat of the cushion and lean over his tiptoes. That was all well and good with Mr. Suarez. He opened his arms wide to invite even more hangers-on to join in. The incredibly inconvenient positioning was no hold-up for his children. Derek and Huari shuffled in between the coffee table, and their dad carefully arranging themselves around each other and Nico. The group came together like pieces of the puzzle, only being able to attach in specific, perfectly aligned slots. You joined in on the group hug. You had to make the mental calculations on the angles and trajectories before attempting a move. There was a single path that would work, and you took it, squeezing just barely between Derek and Clary. The airtight embrace shook with rumbling laughter. Mrs. Suarez had a front row seat to the love fest. He couldn't possibly move from her spot on the couch, their two largest sons blocking the way. Their mom sat tight, and even managed to squeeze one hand to rub her husband's lower back. All the love in the world being poured over Mr. Suarez had flushed with pride. Oh, hadn't flushed with pride. He spoke to his lovely family with as much affection for them as they had for him.
What a day.
I'm so grateful to have you all here. I love that the voice line is "what a day," and it's just like it doesn't really match what is going on, but hey ho.
It's no problem.
I mean that matches decently. Glad to be here. Yeah, glad to be here. Nico shoved a self-aware mimic of his big brother. What they said. Glad to be here. That kind was the cherry on top of the silly Sunday. The brother snickered along with you. The bonding moment came to a sudden and abrupt end as Nicholas' grip finally slipped from the dad's neck. He collapsed like a broken bridge and swung face forward onto the back of the couch with a puffing gasp. His long hair spilled over everywhere.
Oops.
Oops, you fine, Nicholas? Mr. Suarez craned his head over his shoulder to peer down where his youngest child landed. Still flat against the pillar, Nicholas stuck a thumb up into the air. That drew out snickers from the whole crowd, but it was mutually agreed that giving each other some space was for the best. The Suarez men jimmied one after the other from past the furniture and into the dining area. The last one in the pack was Nicholas, who finally pulled himself upright. The misses of the family left the couch behind as well. There was a full migration into the open area of the living room. The flow of conversation continued from there.
You doing okay?
How's your day been? Derek clapped a hand on his father's shoulder. What were you up to while we were out? With great excitement, Mr. Suarez answered the question. I took a nap. That's cool, Dad. It is. I hope the four of you had a pleasant afternoon as well. It was eventful. That's how you would describe it. He felt eyes on you. Nicholas had a conspiratorial glance set your way. He was what made it particularly memorable, and he knew it. We had fun. We made the most of it. Clary and Derek nodded. Not needing to add more than that.
That's what I like to hear.
Good to hear it. Well, current experiences were shared, or funny anecdotes were told. Stories being lately were recounted. That was until both knocks stalled everyone's attention. Jock rapidly sparked into joy. My friend is here! With that cheer, Mr. Suarez hot-footed into the door. He got dibs on the first screen. His arrival by default. It was his day after all.